Okay, today we're going to make an interactive little game here in Edge Animate. We're going to make this ball be able to be picked up, okay, and dragged, okay, and dropped onto this one as its target. Okay. So to do that, we need to use some JavaScript. We're going to use jQuery, which is a library of thousands of JavaScript functions. We're going to use jQuery UI, which has specific functions we can use, like draggable and droppable and resizable. And we're also going to add another script called jQuery touch punch, which basically just makes this work on mobile devices, allows it to recognize touching and swiping. Okay, on the stage I have two symbols, the ball symbol and my target. If I double click on the ball symbol, you'll see within inside it I have a little animation. So if I hit the space bar, you'll see all it does is it simply changes from orange to green. We're going to use that later on as a notification of when our ball has landed correctly on the target. The other thing to note with inside this little animation is, if you notice that if I don't actually have the ball itself clicked, if the ball's clicked in the animation, I get all the properties of that ball. Okay, if it's not clicked and I'm still inside the symbol, you'll see I get the stage of the symbol. I have the autoplay unchecked. That means obviously that this is no longer going to play on automatic unless we tell it to play. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this ball here draggable. When it correctly lands on this target, which is the target we're going to make droppable, okay, that little animation will play. Okay, so first thing we need to do then is add our scripts. So we go to the scripts here in our library, which is the last little tab there. Click the plus. And we're going to add JavaScript files from disk because we have them somewhere on our desktop. So let us go into where I have them saved. The order of how we import these is actually very important. Okay, the JavaScript jQuery itself must be at the top of the list in there. The order of the others doesn't matter, but the jQuery file itself must sit to the top. And let's just get the jQuery UI. There it is. Put that on too. Okay, now we have our three scripts. It's as simple as that to attach scripts to an Edge Animate document. Now what we need to do, okay, is we need to add our script. Okay, so we're going to add the actions. Okay, and all our actions do is tell it to use certain functions within inside of these files here. So all our actions are going to happen on the stage. So if you select the stage layer in your timeline, and then to the left of that, two little brackets, if you click the Open Actions button, here it's asking for an event. So at what point, what do I need to do before I run these actions? You'll see there's familiar ones down here like swipe left, swipe right, click, double click, mouse over. Okay, we're going to use for all this code creation complete, which basically means that when the browser has opened up, once it's loaded everything in, it will then run this code. Now, unfortunately, with this stuff, we cannot let Edge Animate write our code like we do down here. Okay, we actually need to handwrite this code today. So there isn't too much. So first of all, we're going to call on this red symbol and we're going to make it draggable, which will allow us then to get hold of it in a browser, okay, and drag it around. So we go symbol, SYM for symbol, dot, dollar. Dollar represents jQuery. So find a symbol and we're going to use jQuery on it. And then in the brackets, you just write the name of the symbol, exactly as it is written on your timeline. Close the brackets and then a dot, and then we're going to call the function draggable. Any information you need on these functions, live on the website jQueryui.com. It tells you how to use all of these different functions, the code to write, and what all different things it can do. So let's save that file and let's have a quick test of that in the browser. That should quite simply now have allowed that red ball to be draggable. I should be able to click it and move it around the screen, and there we go. So I can put it around. Okay, at the moment it lets me put it down anywhere I like. All right, First stage is done. The event is now draggable. We can control that ball. Okay, now we want to start making this more of a game and have more functionality to it. So we're going to add some options first of all to this draggable. What we want to create is we're going to play with two options. One that means when I actually pick up the ball to drag it, its opacity is going to lower. And the second one we'll do is when I pick it up and drag it, if I don't land it on its target, it will revert back to its starting position. So to add options to a function, you meant to put your cursor in between the two brackets at the end of a draggable. Then you put on a left curly brace, hit return, okay, and you'll see that Edge Animate very nicely closes the brackets for us. Okay, then tab in one space. Now, as I said, on jQueryui.com is a list of all the different options that Draggable has available to us. So, opacity. And then every time you put an option, you write the name of the option, and then you put a colon. Okay, and then we give it the information it would like, whether it be a figure or a statement. And in this case, we're going to say it's got an opacity of 35%, which is 0.35. And then we can save that file. Let's have another quick test. We should find out as we drag this around when the ball comes up. As soon as we grab it and put it away, there you go. It becomes more, its opacity lowers, and when I let go, it comes back to 100%. Okay, now we're going to add another option, which is revert. So it means go back to your home where you came from, and then we need to when we want it to go back, under what circumstances. So the circumstances we want to send it back to home is invalid. So what that means is if it doesn't land on the target that we're going to nominate in a minute, then go straight back to home. So save that document and let's test that one again. Here we go. So now it goes, okay, so opacity drops, and then if I let go, there we go, it flies back to where it began from. And this is going to become our target. Okay, and eventually when we drop this on it, it's going to stay there, but at the moment we have not set this up as a droppable target. So that's our next process. So we're finished on the ball at the moment. So let's open up our actions again. And this time, we're going to make our target, which is what I've called that symbol, droppable. So it's the same syntax code as before, so symbol.$, inside the brackets the name of the symbol you want to make droppable, okay, and then .droppable. Okay, that doesn't achieve that much at the moment, okay, we've just said that this blue circle is now a droppable target. We now need to connect the two objects together to say that this must land on here. So in between the brackets again of the droppable, we're going to add some functions, so hit the left curly brace, hit return, tab in, and we're ready for the options. Again, the options for droppable live up on the website of jQueryui.com. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to tell it what symbol to accept. So imagine this was a game and we maybe had 5 or 6 objects and only one of them was the correct one. This is where you would set that. Okay, and then we're going to tell it to accept symbol. $, open your brackets, and it was ball. Okay, so it now knows to accept that symbol called the ball. So let's save that and let's test that. Now we move it around, it should drop away. If we get it over our target, there we go, it happily stays. Okay, and once it's there, it gets to stay there. So we have the correct one, it gets to stay on the place. You could, of course, make another target back where it came from, okay, which would allow us to make that droppable and it could return if you wanted to be able to pull it back off again. Okay, what I wanted to do too now, if you remember, we created a little animation. I want that animation to play. when it lands on its target. So the next option we use is drop. Okay, and then we have to create our own little function to tell it to play our little animation. So we just have to write the word function. Okay, so we're creating it, we're telling it here that we're creating our own function. Then we open the curly bracket, and here we can use a bit of Edge Animate's built-in code because we simply want to go playback, play, stage, and it's the ball we want to play. So there you go, that's written that nicely in there for us. So let's save that code, hit return, command return, sorry, and let's just test that in the browser. Okay, and then when we drag this around, it goes back, reverts, the opacity drops, and then when we get it on the right spot, here you go, it lands, and it plays green. The last little thing I want to look at, just to maybe tidy this game up a little bit, is it actually allows me to drop it as long as it's just touching that target. Okay, now I want to be able to get it so it goes right in there or not at all, so it allows me to put it on the right spot. So I'm going to add another option to the droppable. So I'm going to do that after the accept. Hit return after the comma. And we're going to use the option of tolerance. And there's a few different options for tolerance. Okay, we're going to use fit, which means it has to 100% be in that circle for it to land. There are others like intersect, which means if 50% of it goes over, it'll accept it. So let's test that one out finally. Okay, so move it around, it drops. If I get over the edge now, it doesn't like it, which is good. I'm going to get it in the middle. Okay. Should stay. And that is the end of that. Okay, so now you've got a draggable item that can land on its target. Okay, it can fit to its target, and when it lands on its target, it will play a little animation.